Hello, I'm Sam Reckford, Chief Financial Officer of the Diocese of Newark. I'm pleased to be able to present a proposed Diocesan Council budget for 2020 and talk about our priorities for the coming year. While budgets themselves are rarely exciting, our budget is a reflection of who we are and what we prioritize, and therefore it is important. The numbers are crunched by my finance staff and me, but we don't operate in a vacuum. The Budget and Finance Committee is instrumental in setting the budget and helping us strategize, and the budget and monthly financial reports are reviewed and approved by the Diocesan Council. Before getting into the 2020 budget, let me do a very quick review of our 2019 results. Our overall income was about $41,000 below budget, but our expenses were a whopping $167,000 below budget, resulting in a surplus of $126,220. There were three major drivers of that surplus: pledge revenue, compensation, and administrative costs. Pledge revenue was $35,000 better than expected. Compensation was $45,000 lower than budget due to unfilled positions, and our administrative costs were $44,000 below budget due to careful spending. There were a handful of other items that differed substantially from budget, but they largely offset each other. Now, moving on to 2020. With a lot of effort, we were able to balance the budget at a level less than 1% above 2019's budget. While it looks like nothing much changed from last year to this, looks can be deceiving. Let's dive into the details by examining the largest line items as well as some others that changed significantly. The full budget is available in the budget report accessible on our website. We'll first look at the components of income. Pledge revenue, budgeted at $2,017,500, generates about 2/3 of our total income. 2020 pledge results have been mixed. While not every pledge has been received yet, I can report that over half of congregations responding have increased their pledge, and we are very appreciative of that. Unfortunately, we were hit this year by substantial reductions by three of our largest congregations, and that more than offsets the gains from the others. So our best estimate is that we can budget only $2,017,500, and even that may be optimistic. As you can see from this chart, after falling substantially during the Great Recession of 2008 to 2010, pledges have been in a fairly tight range. This is the 10th consecutive year of pledge income between $2 and $2.1 million. In 1 year, we've moved from the top end to the bottom end of that range, but please be assured that we will work with all of you to improve these results going forward. Next, we have two income items generated by our investment portfolio. The first is investment income. We draw a 4.25% distribution from certain funds whose income supports the council budget. Because we smooth the income by calculating the distribution based on a 12-quarter average market value, it never moves too much in any year, but we nonetheless get a nice increase this year as lower 2016 values got replaced with higher 2019 values. We also collect an investment administrative fee of 0.25% on all of the funds in the DIT, and it is calculated every quarter, so there is no income smoothing there. The strong market in the fourth quarter, and so far this year, should help us, as long as the market doesn't drop later in the year. For many years, the bishop has contributed some money from the bishop's discretionary fund to the council budget. This year, Bishop Hughes decided to increase her donation in order to assist with bringing the bishop's advisor for stewardship onto the council budget. I'll say more about that later on. Because we had a nice surplus last year, we are once again recycling most of it into ministry. We are budgeting $100,000 and will use more if we need to. Unfortunately, we need to reduce our expectation for Alleluia Fund donations. As you can see, receipts were well below budget last year, and our largest donor couple has already informed us of a significant reduction in their intended gift in 2020. We think that $80,000 is realistic. Direct administration fees are a way for council to recover the cost of providing services to the trustees by our finance and administrative staff, including all of the compensation of the property manager. It is a significant sum of money that does not vary much from year to year. The New Ministries Fund has been used as a source of funding for the Joining God and Going Local initiatives for the last 7 years. The need for this funding dropped dramatically last year, and while it may be even lower in 2020, we may want to draw some funds for the new ministry activities, so we're including some funding in the budget. In addition to directing a portion of their discretionary investment income to the diocese, in recent years, the trustees have also directed unallocated funds from the proceeds of sold churches to help pay for two things: the gradual elimination of council's unfunded lay retirement pension obligation and a reserve for bishop searches. This year, the trustees have also agreed to contribute an additional $50,000 from their unrestricted funds to ensure that we don't have to cut vital programs. Now we'll take a look at our expenses. As always, compensation is our largest expense at 65% of the total. The increase from the current budget is due to 2% cost of living increases for the staff, the full annual cost of some staff positions that were only partial year last year, as well as bringing the bishop's advisor for stewardship onto council's budget as an employee. This is a reflection of her new primary role of enhancing stewardship efforts across the diocese. The bishop also requested funding for part-time pastoral care and youth ministry positions, which are also vitally important, but we have had to put those on hold until we have the funds to pay for them in a sustainable way. In 2019, we significantly curtailed our spending on the Joining God in Shaping Our Future initiative, and we expect de minimis expenses for it this year. However, we have $24,000 in the budget just in case we do decide to pilot something new in 2020. As noted earlier, we get offsetting funding from the New Ministries Fund, so it has no impact on the overall budget. The decrease in our youth budget reflects the fact that most of our youth programming is focused on the experimental pop-up ministry program, which has been funded through a contribution to the Bishop's Circle. Once again, we are contributing 100% of the National Church Ask. It is calculated at 15% of our 2018 unrestricted income. Due to the expected reduction in contributions to the Alleluia Fund, we are making a corresponding reduction in the budget for domestic and international outreach to $150,000. However, outside of the budget, the diocese will make additional grants of approximately $814,000 from investments and endowment income to support churches, provide scholarships to diocesan youth, and supplement the retirement income of retired clergy. Lastly, Search and Call is remaining at $30,000, which we believe to be a responsible, sustainable level. This year, our contribution will cover most of the remaining $40,000 deficit from the 2018 Search and Transition, and starting in 2021, we will begin to accumulate funds for the next search. In my 2.5 years as Chief Financial Officer of the Diocese, I've never had to go to a council meeting and report that we were below budget. In fact, we've had a very significant surplus at the end of each year. But this year that may happen because we trimmed almost every request to keep most ministries at the level of their actual 2019 expenses. And, unlike last year, our pledge revenue estimate is aggressive, not conservative. Basically, we are counting on our congregations to do better than their expectations. And keep in mind that without the additional contributions of the bishop and the trustees, we would be looking at a $110,000 deficit. In summary, I'm very happy that we were able to overcome this year's challenges and present a balanced budget that continues to fund our priorities. I'm thrilled by the financial support we are getting from most of our congregations and look forward to the diocesan staff being able to provide more and better program support to them. In advance of convention, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me. At convention, I'll speak more about the longer-term challenges that we face and how we might address them. Please join me at the Budget Forum, where we can meet in person and engage in a dialogue. And lastly, thank you for making it all the way to the end without falling asleep.